Hey now, everyone. Welcome back. Brand new Take Aim podcast. And this week, man, I'm super excited. Just got done with this podcast with Matt Tagget from Rek Broadheads. Super excited to catch up with him. Long story short is Matt and his dad and some buddies every year do an annual shed hunt out in Iowa. Matt came across a new piece of ground that they ended up eventually leasing this year. So we talk all about his first time on this farm, learning it, what they've set up on this farm, how they've learned it, the age structure, food plots, how they're going to access, how they're going to hunt it. It's always great to talk to properties and learn from somebody who's on the ground, learning their own pieces. So kudos to Matt and his dad. I hope those guys have a great year out in Iowa. I'm sure they will. But South Central Iowa, great county. You can't beat that. So as always, hope you guys learned something, take something away from this show, and enjoy. We'll see you guys next week. All right, guys, we are live, brand new Take Aim podcast, and always excited to get a new show out, and always excited to talk some deer hunting, and excited to have Matt Tagget back on the show from Rek Broadheads. And Matt, what's happening?
How's it going, man? Glad you asked me to come back on the show. It's been a while since we've chatted, and looking forward to talking some deer.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I was actually getting real excited about, like, I was watching you pretty much on your social media, and you're out in Iowa, and I was supposed to go to Iowa this year, and you kind of got me pumped up with all the work and, you know, as you called it, the summer grind, you know, those long, hot summer days, and you're putting in time and sweating, and none of it's fun, but you love to do it.
Yeah, it was a hot year or hot summer down there. I mean, it's still quite warm, but we were down there doing some work here a few weeks ago, and there was a heat index of like 105. I mean, you've got to love this stuff to be out working in that, but my friend Tyler and I worked the whole weekend down in Iowa and Missouri, getting everything ready. And I know I chatted with you the last time a few months back, and you were supposed to get your Iowa tag this year. And just talking before we hopped on this, it sounds like you had a little hiccup in that this year, huh?
Yeah, man, it stinks. You know, I was super excited because I had plenty of points to draw. Like, I mean, 100% I'm guaranteed to draw anywhere in the state, best zone, any weapon. So I'm good to go. But, you know, because of the whole COVID deal, and Michigan we were really shut down, locked down, so to speak, and the state just didn't have enough employees to, you know, give me the proper, you know, Iowa wants you to have a hunter safety certificate, and the state here just, you know, Michigan couldn't make that happen for me. They couldn't locate me in the system. It was honestly like probably 1989 when I took a hunter safety course. So of course I don't have that little, you know, piece of paper hanging around somewhere. And I found a different avenue. I ended up finding my hunter safety number, called both Iowa, called the state of Michigan again, talked to both DNR officers, trying to coordinate what we could do to make it work. And ultimately, the guy in Michigan just didn't feel comfortable doing it and basically wants me to take a re-hunter safety certificate course. And, you know, I couldn't fit 16 hours in a weekend. And on top of that, that was online, and you still had to do the field day stuff, like go shoot a gun or do whatever.
Right.
And that wasn't even open. So I just basically had no way to do it, and they offered me a hunting master class to go do down in Detroit, and they didn't even have that open. So just every avenue I kind of just got kicked around and ultimately didn't get to put in. So that's a bummer, but I was trying to live through you, man, because you were, I know, like all the way back, I remember watching you go down to shed hunt, and now you're doing summer plot work. So fill us in on what you got going.
Yeah, that's extremely unfortunate there. I know COVID has really messed up a lot of people's hunting plans and stuff. I've even been talking to some outfitters out there in Iowa, and they had people cancel early on this year that they had hunts already, you know, booked and had their deposits down, and they canceled just because they didn't know how things were going to play out this year, and if non-residents were going to be allowed in the state, or what was going to happen. But this year, my dad and I picked up a new property down there. It's a 160-acre piece, and he's drawing his first Iowa bow tag. So we went down, and we actually picked this chunk up after shed season. So some friends and I were down shed hunting some other properties that we had permission to, and my friend Hunter's place, and even some public land and stuff, and did pretty well in shed season down there. I think we found like 38 or 39 antlers in a weekend. We put on a ton of miles, had a lot of fun.
A lot of antlers.
But yeah, we found Yeah, it was pretty cool. We got them all. We got a picture of them all sprawled out on a table. We always rent this Airbnb. We're down there, and that was definitely the most we've found in a spring, or I guess in one weekend anyway. So that was pretty cool. But we ended up picking up this new property. It's in the infamous Decatur County there. It's a really nice chunk. It's got, I'm not sure how many acres of ag on it exactly. It's probably like 120 acres of ag, and then there's some CRP on it, and then one decent block of timber and some draws and just some spotty wood lots and stuff like that. So I think we got into there probably in April or May, and just went down and did kind of a quick one-over on it, and picked out some potential spots we'd want to hang stands and stuff. And then we went back and got some mineral licks going, must have been the end of May, and kind of made some trails and stuff, took a little brush cutter down there and mowed some grass and stuff like that. And then just recently I'm getting back from spending, what was I down there, 3 or 4 days? Well, we spent 1 day in Iowa and did a nice big food plot up there and mowed all our trails again and everything. Then went down to my buddy Tyler's farms in Missouri and put a bunch of food plots in there. So just trying to go through all the motions, getting everything ready for season, getting a new farm ready to hunt. We got our stands hung. We're kind of at the point now where we can relax the rest of the year and just watch trail cameras and hope it goes well, I guess.
Matt, it sounds like, and correct me, whatever, if I'm wrong, but so you guys ended up picking up this place while you were down actually shed hunting somewhere else?
Yeah, we were down shed hunting. We go down every year for the Iowa Deer Classic. I've got a couple of friends live out in Iowa, and one of my best friends actually moved from Michigan to Iowa about 1.5 years ago now. And we go down there every year. It's been a tradition. We just go down and shed hunt, and we got permission to like a 480-acre chunk of private land. And then my buddy Hunter, he has a couple of nice farms over down in southern Iowa, and this year he actually took us on his farms, and we shed hunted with him, and then we did some state land, and we found this piece when we were down there. However, during shed season, however, we were not able to get on it until it was like April or May. It was the next trip down that we actually were able to set foot on it.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, if you actually got to shed hunt any of that. So what did you end up, April or May, did you guys end up getting to walk the farm basically, or what happened then?
Yeah, we just walked it. I mean, we tried to do a little shed hunting, but at that point, the grass was starting to get pretty high and stuff, and we didn't really focus super hard on finding sheds. We more or less just wanted to, get a quick one over on the farm and see how it was laid out, and look for potential stands, and just general deer sign, just kind of scan the whole property really quick. And, most of the time driving from Michigan, when we go down there, it's a 10-hour trip, so we're kind of just doing weekends. We work Monday through Friday, so we just buzz down on Friday nights, and we get there around 1 a.m. or so, and we pretty much just got Saturday to check stuff out, and then Sunday we're heading back home. So just whatever we can fit in a weekend, really.
Yeah, it is quick. I know it's hard. I've done that, to Missouri and back several times, so I know exactly what you're talking about. It's never fun, but it's just a necessity. You have to do it, but it's obviously time well spent. But when you guys got to walk that property, Matt, how's it lay out? Like, and what did you kind of get a gut feeling on when you walked it?
So our initial walkthrough on it, I mean, there was from the road, it's kind of nice because there's some hills and you can't really see a lot of the property. It's really secluded. Nice. Yeah, all the timber is really pretty much secluded. There's one little bedding thicket right up on the road, but I mean, it's so thick where nobody's gonna see into it or anything like that anyway. But it's got a lot of agriculture up front, and then I guess to the north there's a big section of timber, and to the south there's a big section of timber, and there's a road that splits it in half. And we pretty much just have the timber draws that come in off the big timber onto us, and there's I think two big ditches on it, and then the southern half of the property is kind of more bedding, more thick stuff. We're not really gonna hunt over on that end a whole lot, but there's some nice big draws on the north end. I mean, the runways going through there were just beat down. I mean, it's definitely a highly traveled area, and there's a lot of deer running that neighborhood for sure. It's in a very highly managed neighborhood, I guess. There's some pretty well-known names nearby within a mile radius of us there. So the trail cameras have proved that the age class already is looking very well on the deer. It's always, tricky figuring out your first year on a farm, trying to figure out, for one, what kind of deer are living there, Two, how do they use the land? We've ran a bunch of cameras on it all summer and have a fair idea of how the deer are using the land, but I don't think we're actually going to know how they're moving through there until we sit on it, for the first time in the fall.
So the south side that you mentioned, you said you guys probably won't hunt it much. Are you just basing that off of what you believe is because that is bedding and you don't want to bust them out of bedding area?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it's just the way it's laid out. It's kind of weird. I'm trying to think of how I can describe it. There's two big thickets on the south end, and we've got an elevated blind over there. There's pretty much beans go right up to the thickets there, and it's just kind of hard to get into it without bumping deer, I feel like. Cause, I mean, the bedding thickets, these are only, 2 or 3 acres probably. So it's not like, they're 20 or 30 acre thickets where you can, get on the edge of them and not bump any deer out. So with the right wind, we might try to get in there and hunt that elevated blind and just stay back. I mean, the elevated blind is probably 200 yards off the X, but with any luck, maybe a decoy in the rut or something like that, if a buck's cruising through, he should come up on top of the hill and get within range. But primarily, we're going to hunt the north end of the farm. That's where the majority of the wooded draws are, in the creek bottoms and stuff, and that's where I feel like a lot of the deer are going to be funneling through, and that's actually where we put in about a 3/4 of an acre food plot just a few weeks ago here.
Sure. Well, that makes a lot of sense. You said the south has beans, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So if you have beans, especially if it's hard to access, like you said, the access is really so vital to what you're doing, but you have that food down there anyways. And now you're doing your own food plot on the north side. You're giving those deer some, travel corridors, or making them come green to green, so to speak, food-wise. That sounds like you're going to have a lot of success there hanging out on the north as well, especially if you got...
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Just kind of leave the south unpressured. If they're bedding in there, I mean, you can see where they're crossing the road and heading to the north up into where our food plot is, and we're pretty much just going to let them do their thing down there. And I mean, it's a very lowly traveled road, so it's not like they're having any problem crossing it and just coming, onto the north end where our stands are set up and stuff. But it'll be interesting. It's always fun learning a new farm and seeing how it works out, and kind of moving around and adapting to whatever changes need to be made.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how cool is it? I mean, just exciting that you guys are in Decatur County. Let's be honest, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've been looking for a place down there for quite a few years actually, and it's right where you want to be. I mean, it's right in one of the best neighborhoods in southern Iowa, and it's there. Property down there is hard to find. This is just a leased property, and it's very hard to come across a chunk of land in that area. So it's something we're going to try to keep long term, and get a long term lease on it. Just by the deer we're getting on camera already, we can tell that the neighbors are either not hunting at all, or they're letting deer. Yeah, they're doing the right thing. They're passing the younger deer, and they're getting big. That's for sure.
So tell me a little bit, Matt. How did you go about working your cameras for this summer on a new piece? Did you do a lot of field edges, or did you mostly do some mineral sites, or what gave you that, basically your new MRI?
I did a little bit of both. So I've always put my mineral sites down in the timber, kind of, heading back towards their bedding areas and stuff, and it just seems like they're more comfortable on a mineral site, and not. I guess it depends on the property, but I've always had really good luck with getting mature deer in daylight hours on mineral licks down in the timber and the thickets and stuff. Coming back from feeding on the ag all night, and I'll get pictures in the morning when they're heading back to bed. So I tend to do my mineral licks in the timber like that. But I've got cameras, anywhere on their travel quarters heading back into the big timber, and I've got them on the field edges. And now with the food plot planted, I've kind of moved them over to that. But actually, this last time down in the state of Iowa, there's a law that you cannot hunt over a mineral site or harvest a deer that is heading to a mineral site, basically. So I've pretty much shut down the mineral sites and pulled the cameras off from those and more towards where we're going to hunt this fall, and kind of just transitioning more towards where we plan on hunting, just because we living so far away, it's not like I really don't know the next time I'm going to get down there to be able to do that. You know, they're still in their summer patterns, and it's a little early to switch over to the fall, but I don't know if I'll be back down until October, you know, at this point. So just kind of getting everything set up for the fall.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know it makes it hard for sure. And that was kind of the next question I was going to ask you is, are you by chance running any cellular cams?
No, that's, you know, I've been thinking pretty hard about ordering a few of those. I see the new Tacticam Reveal cell cameras just come out like a couple weeks ago here, and they're only $100. So I've been pretty tempted to order a few of those. Yeah. From what I'm hearing, everyone's having really good luck with them, and you know, service is kind of spotty down in that part of Iowa, at least for Verizon. That's the carrier I use, and you pretty much are limited to, you know, having cameras up on the hilltops. But I'm probably going to end up getting one down there just to try it. But for now, they're all the old school cameras, I guess, non-cellular.
Yeah. No, I'm actually invested in one, and I should have it hopefully this coming weekend. So by like Monday, I should have it. So that will be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. But I think it will be, you know, a great tool, and like you said, especially when we run trail cameras, we know that it's just telling you a deer is there, but sadly that's already history. He's already walked through there. But, I mean, come hunting season. But right now you're trying to get that most recent information. It's just such a rewarding thing, I believe, like for guys like us, you know, trying to do something out of state like that, to keep getting those pictures. It just kind of gives you that validation, like, man, I'm in the right area. Everything's good out there 10 hours away at the farm. It's just probably a really good feeling. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It kind of gives you that peace of mind, too, you know, and, you know, you can work against trespassers and all kinds of, there's so many benefits to it. And, you know, we're probably going to get one put on that food plot just because, you know, the fact, like I keep saying, you know, living so far away, you know, our time's kind of limited to get down there. But, you know, we're planning on doing a 3 or 4 day weekend in October, and we're just kind of playing it by ear here to see, you know, when we want to time it out with the first big cold front in October. And, you know, that along with, you know, having a cell phone camera to see, you know, if a deer is frequenting the plot, you know, that we want to harvest or go after. I mean, that's a big game changer there. So we're definitely looking into getting a couple of those reveals. I mean, that price point is just unbelievable, $100 to be able to monitor them. Yeah, and people seem to be having really good luck with them. So,
yeah, it's I just did a podcast with Ben over there from Tacticam, and we went over all the good stuff about the reveal, and we've even touched base since about some of the updates they've done. And I'll know Monday, but from what I've heard and what I believe Ben has told me, and if you listen to the podcast, you'd be sold on getting one, especially at that price. It's just absolutely no-brainer to me.
Yep, definitely a game changer there. They did good. That's probably why every place is sold out, really, that you can find right now.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere is sold out. It's amazing. I called a lot of stores. I bet you 15 stores between Cabela's, Bass Pro, stuff like that, and some other local, you know, mom and pop stuff that we have here in Michigan, trying to find one. And man, it's insane. I mean, they were the first product they were legitly sold out of, like, that I've ever you know, hunted after myself to buy one. They were completely sold out.
Yeah, that's cool to see. It you know, appears they have a really good customer service team and stuff. I follow their like Facebook group and stuff, and I mean, there's just tons of feedback of positive response on it. So, I mean, for $100, I don't think you can go wrong with it.
No, not at all. Especially when, I mean, we know the average price of a regular, you know, trail camera. You know, a decent one is $50 to $100, and great ones are even more than that. So, and those aren't cell cameras. So it's amazing to get what you're getting for that price, for sure. I mean, you can't talk about that part of it. Yeah, that part enough. But moving on, like your food plot, man, what did you guys end up planning, and what gave you the idea that, like, hey, we need the food plot here? Was it based on you guys just picking out the right tree first, or was it just finding a really good travel area and some decent soil?
Yeah, so it was kind of a mix of, I guess, the biggest reason we put the food plot where we did is because it's there's, like, on the northern end of the property, there's a western, I guess I'll call it a vein of timber, or a draw. Then there's an eastern draw. And they don't connect, but they come pretty close to each other. And those deer, you can tell by the runways, they travel between the two quite frequently. And it's super easy to access off the road. We don't the deer bed to the west and to the south, so we put our food plot over on the east side to where we can access into it, and we're not going to bump any deer out. We've got a great wind, and we know the deer are going to be running that draw, especially during the rut. Early season, I'm thinking we might get lucky and catch one. There's a few good deer bedding down in this draw right now throughout the summer, which I know is going to change because it's not very thick, and they're just bedding there and feeding up into the beans in the evening. We've watched them a few nights, but I expect that to change in the fall, but I know they're still going to travel through there, and it's just going to be a good spot, really in the rut when the bucks are cruising through, just to buzz through there and check for a hot doe and head onto the big timber. There's just so much connectivity on the farm. Without showing you a map of it or an aerial, it's hard to describe, but it should be a pretty good spot where, there's going to be some bucks checking it just constantly, and, maybe early season we'll get something to bed close to it and be able to get them on some sort of a pattern and get in there and get a shot off. But we planted a radish and brassica mix. We've had good luck with radish here in Michigan in the past. Honestly, early season all the way through, until they eat it off. It's hard to beat a good radish plot, it seems.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, they do seem to really like that, that's for sure. And it's one of those things, I don't know, Matt, your area where you guys hunt up there, but, down in southern Michigan where I hunt, which is 2 hours southwest of where I live, but it just seems like there's so much ag that they're really finicky about food plots. And, if it's like not a clover or a very good turnip, I've just not had a lot of luck on it. But I would assume in Iowa that anything green down there, the deer just seem to love for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way from everybody I've talked to. I've got some friends that are locals down there, and that's kind of what they recommended planting as well. And, we've leased land out that way, Missouri and Iowa for, probably 5 or 6 years now, it seems like. And this is actually the first time we've gone through the trouble to haul a tractor down there and, do the work to put food plots in and stuff. So I think that's going to be the difference that's going to hopefully give us an advantage on the deer. We always get, on any farm we hunt down there, we always have nice deer to go after every year, but getting them on a predictable pattern is sometimes a little tough. And I'm thinking a food source like this might just be that extra ticket that sets us up well.
Yeah. How big of a plot did you guys end up doing?
It's probably about 3/4 of an acre. And it's tucked right in next to that timber draw like I was talking, and then there's probably 60 acres of corn, standing corn there. And I'm hoping, who knows how early they're going to take it off, but if that corn stays up during the rut, it's going to keep it super secluded.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So from that edge of that food plot, where are you guys looking at in that draw? Where's your stand set up, and basically how far away are you?
So we've got 2 stands on that plot. Actually, we've got a double tree stand set hung in a tree on the northeast corner to hunt on any kind of south wind basically, and it's just going to blow our scent out over a cattle pasture, which will be really ideal.
Yeah, about
and
perfect.
Then we've got and then we put an elevated platform up on the southeast corner, in which we're gonna just go pop up a pop-up blind tied onto there for anything north kind of wind or even west wind will hunt good out of that. So we should have it covered for any wind there. And there's I know it's summertime, so it's you like to see the pictures, but you don't want to get too excited because so much changes from now until October. But there's a really good deer coming through there every few days right now that if he can just keep doing that, another 2 months here or whatever it is, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I know it's hard. You want to get excited about it, but there's always that possibility that come Labor Day weekend, it just seems like every year those bucks, the velvet comes off and they get crazy and they disappear, and then you just hope again, like come late October, getting close to Halloween, one or two of those good ones that disappeared shows back up on a scrape somewhere near one of your sets. Because it does seem to happen, every year. It's like, they disappear and then they like to come venture back. But sometimes they don't, but, it does drive you crazy when they disappear like that because you're just like, golly, what the heck? Where'd they go and what are they doing?
Yeah. It seems like as soon as they shed velvet, they get weird and they venture off, into their fall ranges or whatever they do. It seems like you lose a few deer hang around, and sometimes you gain a few deer as well. So you never really know what to expect. I mean, it's definitely cool to see the pictures, but to get super excited about them this time of year is almost setting yourself up for failure. I don't know. I mean, you never know. You never know what to expect.
No, you don't. I always get super excited when I get a nice one in velvet, and then, like, I just always say to myself, the real work begins after Labor Day trying to relocate him again, because that's just the truth. Like, I mean, he might just be 150 yards, but, obviously if you keep doing the same thing, you get the same results. So if you don't get out there and take a chance, move those cameras, you're not going to get that, information again. But they definitely get, they get a different sense about them, as soon as that velvet comes off, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one thing I did pick up on what you said about those draws, it sounds like and a lot of things sort of connect on your property. And when you think of ideal situations like that from Illinois to Missouri, Iowa, like those are always the farms that I look at and kind of drool after, like, because you just know that those draws like that coming from big timber to draws to feed to ag, that just means you're going to have movement somewhere. You're going to have deer that are going through travel corridors, north, south, or east or west to bed or whatever the situation is. But I'll take stuff like that over giant 1,000-acre blocks of timber any day of the week.
Yeah, it's, especially coming from Michigan here, I'm kind of, I guess, central Michigan, almost getting up into northern a little bit. And we have, big blocks of timber around here. And you go out there and, there are bigger areas of timber, but a lot of the hunting out there is just draws. And, you don't need a lot of timber to hold deer out there at all. And some of the best farms I've ever hunted on literally just have a tree line, and it depends on what it connects to and what's in the area. And, I mean, especially in the rut, those bucks will run those tree lines all day long. And it doesn't take a whole lot.
No, it doesn't. It's crazy, and they get they just know how to use it, and maybe it's a little bit, obviously coming from Michigan, I'll call it lack of pressure, but they know how to use it correctly, and they're not afraid to use it, and not afraid to use it during those peak times, which is great for going out there to hunt. But it just is neat. It's so different than being here. It's just hard to explain. I know, Matt, like you know it, and I know it, and it's like I can't even put it into words for like the listeners because people don't get it. They hear Michigan and Pennsylvania and they're like, oh, it's not that bad, but man, trust me, it's a whole different animal.
It's really bad. Like once season opens, so the deer here, I mean, they literally don't even want to come out in the open. I mean, that's the biggest probably difference I've noticed in hunting, out in the Midwest versus hunting here at home in Michigan is, you've got to really keep your property unpressured here to a whole new level of what, people will talk about, out there, because it's like these deer literally won't walk out through the middle of an open field in October, November, but down there, I mean, they run them little tree lines, and, there's spots down there you can get away with hunting that you would never in a million years think about hunting here in Michigan.
No, never. That's exactly right. So, but that's, I mean, for guys like us, man, we just appreciate it so much more. It's not even funny, It's really true. So,
you guys, it's pretty cool.
Are you guys going to head down then again one more time before season, do you think?
Yeah, we're going to go down one more time and just, the stands are all hung. The only thing I've got to do is set a blind up on that platform I mentioned there, and pretty much just, freshen up the batteries and the trail cameras, and that's it. And we're ready to hunt. That's what is it now? It's the second week in August, and I'll be heading to North Dakota here in 3 weeks, and pretty much right after that, I'm going to stop down to Iowa and make sure everything's good to go, and from there on out, we're going hunting.
Man, that's awesome. So what are you doing in North Dakota?
That'll be my first hunting trip of the year. Their season comes in September 4th, I believe. It's the 4th on a Friday there. That'll be our first trip,
wow.
and we've been doing that for 5 years now. That's always a fun hunt.
No, that is, like, I've always wanted to go out there and do that hunt as well. I know it opened early. I didn't quite, for some reason, I thought it was mid-September, but that's awesome that it's that early. But, yeah, you see some of the footage coming out of North Dakota, even South Dakota, but North Dakota, and, it's beautiful, and those deer are just, super pretty, and the terrain is so different. It just looks like an awesome place to, go hunt. It's like if you're a bow hunter, it's one of those places that's got to be on your hit list.
Yeah, it's pretty wild out there. I know, we were just talking about kind of hunting deer out in where it doesn't take a whole lot of timber, and that's taking it to a whole new extreme out there because, I mean, there is literally hardly any trees out there at all. There's no real big blocks of timber. I mean, there might be a tree line or an old homestead that's grown up that has some trees growing in it, but I think 5 years ago it was my first year out there. We had never been there, didn't know where we were going really. Kind of got a tip from one of the local guys here that owned a house out there. And we drove out there through the night, showed up there in the morning, and went to one of his pins he dropped us, and we all kind of just looked at each other like, what in the hell are we doing? Like, there are no deer here. There's no way deer actually live here, There's just nothing. And sure enough, I mean, you sit there in the last hour of light, and these deer just start popping up out of nowhere, and they feed on the beans all night, and it's pretty crazy. It's a different style of hunting for sure.
Yeah, it is, for sure. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, good luck with that, and hopefully you shoot something. We can get back on the podcast, talk about that hunt as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm definitely excited about, your Iowa piece, and I'll be following along with you. And, again, hopefully you and your dad this year and you next year, but I'll be excited to kind of follow along the journey on a new farm and see how you guys do.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for my dad to get down there. This will be his first ever bow tag, and I know he's pretty excited. He's getting old. I think he's going to be 59 this fall, so chances of him drawing another Iowa bow tag are, I mean, who knows? By the time then he might not even be bow hunting. I don't know. He's getting up there in age, so it'll be cool to be down there in October, November with him, and hopefully watch him wrap his tag on an Iowa giant. But I don't know. That's at this point, I'm kind of starting to think I just need to move out there because I spend enough time there, and it takes so long to get a tag. I don't know. That's it's been on my mind lately.
Yeah, I know. It's on my mind all the time, and I haven't even got to hunt there once yet. So
yeah,
it is on my mind, though. I know, like last year we went to the Iowa Deer Classic, and I probably walked right by you or didn't even know you were there. But,
yeah,
it just blows my mind. It's so different, and we go down and we've done the same thing, shed hunted a couple, pieces of ground out there in March, and man, it just is so different. Like it's so underrated just how beautiful the state is for one, and just the deer habitat is so insane. And like you said, just anything you walk into looks like nothing, and you'll see a rub that's the size of a telephone pole. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah,
it's just.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't wait to get out of here and get over there.
Yeah. That's every time I head out there, I just can't wait to get back. It's if you're a diehard bow hunter or deer hunter or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of good states across the Midwest to hunt, and they're all unique and good in their own way. But I truly believe there's no place that tops Iowa. I mean, it's unreal.
No, it is unreal for sure. I mean, what I've seen of it, it's unreal. And like I said, God willing, next year I get my tag, so I'll get to experience it. But, I have hopped around every good Midwest state around it, and they're all, gems too. But, there's just something a little bit different about Iowa, and, I've been on some ground that it basically touches Iowa, out in Missouri, and it's awesome too, and it would blow your mind. And, but it's just, maybe it's that thing. It's just because I haven't done it yet. It's the sweet nectar you haven't tasted, but that just spending time there and walking it and seeing some of the deer and some of the deer at the show, man, it just is freaking mind blowing.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I mean, the amount of 200-inch deer that come out of the state of Iowa every year. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but it's got to be right up there with. Number one. It's crazy. And you go talk to some of the locals. There's the good old farm boys out there killing 180-inch deer every year, and they don't, they're not on social media, they're not talking about it, and it's a different style of hunting out there. They 160-inch deer to them is just considered a good deer. It's like, that was a pretty good buck, but to us coming from Michigan, it's like 160-inch deer is a giant.
Yeah, it's a giant. It's a deer of a lifetime for us, And but you're right. Their
attitude, see them, all the time.
Their attitude is just a good deer, but it is crazy, man. They've, like you said, there's some guys out there that nobody's heard of that have just got a stockpile of 180 plus deer, which is to us. I mean, think of how insane that is.
Yeah.
So. But, man, well, thanks for joining us tonight, Matt. And I know you got a lot going on with Rek Broadheads. And I know since the last time we talked to you, it was shortly after, but you guys launched the fixed blade. So how's that going?
Good, yeah. That's we were in the works of that, I think, the last time we talked. And I'm not sure if I mentioned or not. Things, legally were kind of a little hush-hush around that time. And, we got it worked out. But, yeah, that was kind of a cool launch there where, we got the expandables where you can now just pull the blades out and switch fixed blades into it. It's kind of a unique product there, and it's been going really well. The past month here, you can tell people are getting excited for bow season because they're flying off the shelves. So we're pretty happy to see them finally start selling. And that's we weren't sure early on. We were selling some here and there, but didn't know if it was because of the COVID or if it was just seasonal, because we launched in February and all the shows were canceled. So, but no, things have really picked up and it's going good.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And as a business owner myself, I can tell you firsthand, what a horrible time it was for guys like me and you to be doing our own thing and during COVID, because you can't get a grasp on the reality of what business is really doing. But I'm super happy for you guys that it's picked up, and rightfully so, because you got an amazing looking head, both fixed and expandable, and guys be crazy not to shoot it. So I'm super happy to hear it's starting to go for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We're just ready for people to get out in the field and start killing some stuff with them. We've already had a few guys, do some hog hunting, and actually had a kid shoot an emu the other day. That was kind of funny. He sent me a video of it. But I'm ready for some guys to get out and start killing some deer with them. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, heck yeah, for sure. But let everybody know, Matt, where they can find the Rek heads. And like I said, man, as soon as you end up wrecking one yourself, man, let's get back on the podcast together.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. You can find the Rek Broadhead information at www.rekbroadheads.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Rek_Broadheads. That's REK.
Absolutely. And boys and girls, as you know, every week, iTunes, Outdoor Podcast Channel, Unfiltered Outdoor app, and we'll see you right here next week. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.